Hello everyone, this is Ashley from Ashley's Creations, and today we're going to make this birthday shaker card. This is made using brand new products from the Papertrey Ink 9th anniversary 2016, February 2016 release. We're starting off with the new modern background stencils. So they've started to release stencils, and they released 3 stencils this time, and I just labeled them 1, 2, 3, just so I could put them in pockets, but there isn't actually any specific number that this one is. I just did that for my own organization. So I taped the stencil to the background paper, and I'm using a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch sheet of Papertrey Ink Stamper Select White, and I'm sponging on all the different shades of pink here. I started with Sweet Blush, and I worked my way down to Lovely Lady, which is their newest pink color, which is why their ink pad there is shaped differently. They have changed their ink pad shapes. They were having troubles with their old manufacturers of the teardrop shapes, so they switched it to those rounded ones there. So that's why that one's different. But I started with Sweet Blush, Lovely Lady, I moved on to Hibiscus Burst, and then Raspberry Fizz, and then I'm just working my way back up to try and blend it back out again. And I just love the way that looks. It looks like those geometric blocks that you put into like a pyramid. I really like the way that turned out. I'm excited to see what new stencils are going to be coming out within the next couple months. So the stamp set that we're using today is called the Tulip Time stamp set. It's a beautiful new multi-layering flower stamp set from Betsy Veldman. And I used the dies to cut out all 3 of the different flower images. And I like the fact that the image labeling sheet tells you which layers go with which flower. So that's what I'm pointing at right there. I'm pointing at that says number 3. So I know that that one goes with number 3. So they all go together. So I stamped the background layer with Lovely Lady. I'm stamping this one with Hibiscus Burst. And like already, that just looks so pretty, you guys. I just love this flower. And again, I'm showing you that I'm doing the 3rd step for number 3, and that one is in Raspberry Fizz, and that's just really pretty. I just love that. So we're going to move on to the stem and the leaves. We are using Simply Chartreuse to do the first layer. Excuse my head getting in the way there. And then the second layer, we're going to use New Leaf, and it just comes out so gorgeous. I just love this stamp set. I think Betsy Veldman must have been really busy for this release because she had a ton of new stuff that came out. See there, you can see it close up. It was really pretty. But yeah, so she's been a busy girl. So there I was showing you again that this flower right here is number 1. So all of the layers labeled number 1 are going to be on that flower. And then this other flower that I'm doing is is flower number 2. So I went ahead and stamped both the Lovely Lady stamps first, that way I could just do all the same color at the same time. So I'm going back to stamp number 1, moving on to Raspberry Fizz, and then this is going to be stamp number 2 and the Raspberry Fizz as well. I just love those. I can't say enough about it. And so then this is the 3rd layer. I'm moving on to Raspberry Fizz for the first flower, and then Raspberry Fizz for the second flower. So we're going to do the stem now, and I want you to notice that I put my stem down on my mat. Normally when I take my stamps off, I just put it right onto my block, but these stems curve in like a weird way, so if you try and put them on your block without letting them just fall naturally, it won't match up with the die cut. So just drop it on your grid or on your table or whatever, and then pick it up with your block that way, so it's the correct way when you go to stamp it. So again, Simply Chartreuse was the first leaf layer, and New Leaf is the second layer here. It just gives it so much detail. So there you go, those are all of the tulips there. So we're going to set that part aside now because we're going to do the shaker portion. I'm using the Cover Plate Pretty Frame die. This was also one of the brand new releases. I cut it out in 3 different colors here. I used Raspberry Fizz for the outside, I used Hibiscus Burst for the inside, and then for that very, very inside layer, I used white. I also cut it out of some pink fun foam so that I could make my shaker portion. I like doing the fun foam because I can cut it exactly to the same shape as what I'm working with, and I don't have to worry about layering on the foam tape. Now, Papertrey Ink does have a double-sided adhesive foam that they sell. It's 3 sheets of 8.5 by 11 foam that's adhesive on both sides, but it's $10 for the pack, so sometimes that can get pretty pricey. And I like to make multiples of my cards, so I made 4 of these. So once you do a ton of cards, you kind of use the foam pretty quickly. So that's why I decided to go ahead and use just this regular fun foam that I had because it was pink and it matched. Now, when I ran the frame through with the foam, it kind of stretched the frame out a little bit. So that's what you saw there, was me just trying to put the foam and the paper layer together so that it fit. But because the foam layer was stretched out a little bit, it took a little finagling to get it to match. So same thing here with the inside foam layer. When I ran it through the die cut machine, it stretched it out so it doesn't quite fit in there exactly. So it isn't gonna look perfect when I'm finished, but you know, I still like the way that it turned out. But you can see there that it's not perfect, but it still looks okay, and you're gonna cover up most of it anyway. So I put the inside layer in, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and put the outside layer on. When I made this card first, I did the outside layer first and then the inside, and I had a little trouble with the outside frame not being shaped right, so I went ahead and did the inside first. So now I have the inside frame that's out of hibiscus burst, and I have it backed with score tape, and I put a 3.5 by 4 3/4 piece of clear cardstock or clear acetate. And now I'm using the Bold Blossom stamp set. It was released in January, and I'm using Celebrate It's Your Day stamp. It's your birthday. I did that in Raspberry Fizz. Now I'm just using some My Style stamps, sequin packs that I had, the baby pink and the dark orchid in there. This Lucy's Things mix was from the Hero Arts Valentine's kit, and then I'm using some Recollection things there. You guys notice if you have these that they get stuck together, and you have to kind of like pinch them a little bit to get them to spread apart. So that's what I was doing there. I'm just trying to break apart the pieces. So here's another Recollections one. I really like these containers. So I did the like the white clearest stars, and I did some of those silver stars. I'm just putting a little bit more of the dark pink in there so that you have more. I don't know, I wanted more of the dark pink because there was a lot of light colors in there. So I'm lining this with score tape so that I can go ahead and stick it on top. And I'm just going to layer it over the frame that's already in there. And then I'm just using a 2-way glue pen to put a line of glue so I can put that white frame down. I'm trying my best to cover up that inner pink frame. There is a little bit of the foam that's going to show underneath just because, like I said, when it got die cut, the foam got squished, and so it stretched out a little bit. But it still looks good, I think. So now we're going to take and we're going to pop up the tulips, the 3 set of tulips. And the other ones I'm just going to glue directly down to my card base. But before I do that, I wanted to wrap this with some twine to make it look like a little bouquet of flowers that someone was giving. I couldn't find the twine on my desk for some reason, but there it is. It's a Queen & Company twine that I got a couple years ago. We have this thing in Michigan called Mega Meet, and it comes around every May. And they have this big, huge craft show at one of the local, I don't even know what it's a show place. It's called Suburban Show Place. So if you're ever around, the Michigan area, check out in May the Mega Meet. It's a huge show. But I got it back then in like 2012, I think. So it's just been sitting around. I finally used it. I tied a little bow around it so it looked like it was a little bouquet. And then I'm just gonna stick this one tulip behind, like it's sticking out from the leaf there, and then this one's gonna be sticking out from the top. And take off the backing there. And I like how that just curves around the Celebrate sentiment. I think that's so pretty. And so then you have your shaker part. And I have an 11.5 by 4.25 piece of Lovely Lady cardstock, scored at 5.5. So I just took the 8.5 by 11 and cut it at 4.25. So it was 4.25 by 11.5. And then I'm going to, well, right now I'm actually cutting a piece of white because I forgot to do that. But that is 4.25, I'm sorry, that's 4 by 5.25 piece of white cardstock. And I forgot to find a birthday inside sentiment, so that's what I'm doing at this moment too, actually. And I ended up using the Inside Out Birthday 2 stamp set. It says sending you love and laughter and plenty of happily ever after. Happy birthday. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in Raspberry Fizz. And I realize I got it on here a little crooked, and that's okay. It's a little harder to do it on video, as you guys know if you do videos. I'm not worried about it. It still looks nice. So there's the card. We're going to add just a couple more things here. I wanted to do Wink of Stella on all the flowers, but my Wink of Stella seems to be running out. So I don't know if I need to get a new one or what. But because I couldn't get that to come out, I switched over to the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Marker or Sparkle Pen. I'm not sure what it's called. I got it in my Stamp of Approval kit from Catherine Pooler. And the difference between this one and the Wink of Stella is that this one is a more of like a silvery shine, whereas Wink of Stella is more of a gold shine. It's really pretty. It turned out really nice. So I'm just painting that Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen on there. You can see the shine there. Look how pretty that is. And then the last thing I'm going to add is some Doodlebug Sprinkles Enamel Glitter Dots. So I've got one in all three of the different colors there, and that's going to finish up my card today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye!